CEO of T-Bar Productions, LLC. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sure many of you are trying to understand what is griot. Well, just to give you a bit of a history on the word, griot are African storytellers. So they could be musicians, they can be historians. Anyone in that culture was used to pass down the language, the history, and the tributes of the tribe. Being that we have several great individuals here that are telling their stories each and every week to pass down to our future generations, I decided to go with the name Griot because each one of us can be a historian, a storyteller, passing down our great history to our generations to come. Now, with that being said, like I said, we have several people that we're going to interview throughout the course of this show, just telling their stories, telling their history, so our representation can be heard. It's truly important to cultivate an environment where people see people that look like them, everyday hardworking people doing great things throughout our communities.
I am Kavia. I love my coffee black. It was basically made out of love. It's the love of the favorite drink, well, America's favorite drink that we all have. We love it, but we don't really know the history of our favorite little coffee bean. And so I started off just working in a coffee shop, just learning this bean in particular, just seeing how many people were affected by how good it is. And not just because it's a good coffee bean, but it's a bean that you're able to drink black. You know, you're able to have flavored coffee without having to have flavored cream in it. So engaging with the customers and just hearing their feedback in the actual coffee shop gave me more of a love and understanding for the people who drink it. Because I was the person who drank coffee, but not like religiously every single day. So it's like I understood that it was good to have a cup of coffee for energy, but not understanding like the value of the actual coffee bean in itself or why people love it so much. So from the coffee shop, interacting with the people gave me the feeling to want to know more about it. So I started learning about the history of coffee. Where did it come from? And in that is where I learned my newfound joy. I feel like I just found my joy in the knowledge that I learned about this bean. And it's because I connect with people so much. And just knowing that we love coffee as much as we do, but not understanding that it came from the motherland. Or just understanding how many people were sacrificed just to be able to drink a cup of coffee. For me, I'm so excited to be able to just teach you the history. So, coffee was founded in 850 AD. And it was founded by an African goat herder named Kaldi. And so one day, Kaldi was just outside with his goats, and he noticed them acting pretty strange. They were pretty erratic, and that's because they were full of caffeine. And so he was wondering what were they eating off of the tree. And if you didn't know, the coffee bean comes inside of like a little cherry and a berry. And so inside of it, so inside of that red berry is where the coffee bean actually is. And so the goats were eating the coffee. And so Kaldi got upset because he couldn't understand why his goats were acting so erratic. So he ended up burning the coffee beans, and he learned how to roast them pretty much because they smelled so good. So from 850 AD to like the 1400s in Africa, the Africans were eating coffee beans to be able to get the caffeine that we get now from drinking it. We didn't start drinking coffee until the 1400s, you know, so it's pretty interesting to just know that coffee was in Africa from 850 AD, and then the crop started being traded with the slaves, and they went from Africa to Brazil, to El Salvador, to Colombia. The Africans were traded with the crop and they went to all of those different places to be able to now, like, we don't understand that they went through so much on those farms in order for us as consumers to just have a cup of coffee to drink. You know, they actually went in those fields as slaves, and they worked so hard. I saw 1 year in El Salvador. All of my coffee that's flavored comes from El Salvador. In El Salvador, they went from a population of about 20,000 people, right, to 200,000 people in 2 years, okay? Those were all slaves. And all of those slaves were brought to El Salvador so that they can be able to make money. Same with Brazil. And I was trying to understand, this is what made me really start doing a lot of research, because I was trying to understand, how was coffee, like, how did it get originated in Africa? And then Africa is not number one for the actual coffee crop. I'm just like, that makes no sense. It came from us. So how don't we own it right now? How does Brazil or Colombia become number one for coffee when it came from the Africans? So I started doing my research, and that's how I learned that it was traded with the crop. I mean, with the slaves in order to make it to those places. And then they just capitalized off of it. You know, we don't understand in America because we're just consumers of it. We don't have the mountains and the altitude in America to be able to grow the coffee crop in the way that they can in Colombia or Jamaica or El Salvador. So that's why there you have way more people that's still in the coffee industry. In the United States, you don't have a lot of African American coffee roasters, coffee warehouses. You still, all of the coffee industry is still owned by Europeans. Literally. And it's so unfortunate that from 850 AD, something that was stolen from us then, it's 2021, and we still haven't found a way to own our history. I love my coffee black. We're owning our history. It's time for us as black people to become coffee roasters, coffee grinders. We need to learn the history of one of the number one crops. It was sugar, cotton, and coffee. Those are the cash crops. So we need to start owning. I need more black-owned warehouses, more black-owned roasters, so that we can, sorry Starbucks, but
Yeah.
you know, I've had literally so many customers tell me that this coffee is better than Starbucks because Starbucks have a dark roast coffee. And Starbucks don't understand how important it is to cater to the coffee drinker's palate. Everyone doesn't want a dark roast coffee. They want a blind coffee. They prefer a medium roast on a regular day. And then they want a French roast coffee like Starbucks have, you know, on a day where they just need an extra little booze. But they don't want that every single day, you know. And they also want to be able to have a product that it tastes really well. It's really smooth. The quality of it is really Dunkin' Donuts. I gotta say this too. Dunkin' Donuts coffee drinkers are drinkers that like light roast coffee, right? They don't want to go to Starbucks because they don't want a dark roast. You know, McDonald's coffee drinkers like the Colombian coffee at McDonald's because it's a little bit stronger than Dunkin' Donuts, but it's not as strong as Starbucks. It's a simple balance between everything. You get to have the flavor. You get to have your fresh roasted coffee without flavor shots, without flavored cream, at a medium roast that does not leave the bitter taste on your palate and still give you the feel that you want. It's awesome.
Absolutely. I've had it myself. At work I get free coffee, and I still prefer to bring the I Love My Coffee black bag that I brought. So
nice.
So it's always good that your passion meets your quality of your product. You know, you get a lot of people, especially people of color, that have the passion but may not do the due diligence to meet their passion with their quality. So it's appreciated.
Oh yeah.
That you absolutely know your stuff and you make sure your product is well served to the community. With that being said, with you seeing a low market share of African Americans in our communities, what is your take on expanding that industry? What are your plans, and how do you see more people being involved in the different aspects of the industry?
Education. It's my job just to educate everyone about the history of coffee, and I feel like once our people understand it better, they'll understand why they should be more active and not just a consumer of it, but actually be involved with the process of it, because we have hundreds and thousands of people that died for us unwillingly just so we can be able to drink this. So if we can drink it and we appreciate, we understand, like, I gotta have my coffee every single day. Now once you understand to appreciate that cup of coffee that you are drinking every single day, and you understand it, until then is when that narrative is gonna change, And it's my job to educate our people so that they can understand where we really came from. We're bigger than just fashion designers and basketball players and rappers. Like, we drink coffee. We literally, we love coffee. So why can't you become a roaster? Why can't you learn about the history of coffee? I don't want to be the only black person. My boss that I work for is one of the only black owned warehouses, okay? He's been working since 1984. Okay, I have a Hispanic coworker who's also in the coffee industry. He tried to learn the coffee industry through the different Caucasian roasters, right? They wouldn't help him because it's not an industry that they want us to capitalize off of. They want us to stay a drinker and just keep putting the money in their pocket. They don't want us to understand that this is a billion-dollar industry. That they took our people how many decades ago, centuries ago, okay, to capitalize off of this crop right here, right? So for me, educating my people, owning our history, and just bringing forth that awareness so that we can all be more conscious of something that we do so freely every single day, it'll just start to be infectious. It'll be so many more people that want to be involved because we are involved innately and don't know how connected we are, And the reason why we're probably as connected is because all of our ancestors who died for us are speaking to us. Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
It's love.
Yeah.
It's all out of love.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're definitely an excellent, extraordinary entrepreneur. What do you say to the next Kavia coming along the way?
Keep going. Don't give up. It is super hard, I promise you. Don't give up. Those no's that you tell yourself, you let yourself hear no, or I can't do it, or it's gonna be too hard, or I don't have time to do it. You owe it to yourself to work as hard as you're supposed to work in order to have what God put in you. Don't give up. Stay focused.